And welcome back to Hardball. The bank and tax fraud trial of President Trump's former campaign chairman, Paul Manafort, wrapped its second week today. And this has been the first real test for Robert Mueller's special counsel investigation of Russian meddling in the 2016 election. While the charges against Manafort predate his time on the Trump campaign, we have seen where the two investigations have overlapped. The prosecution's star witness, Rick Gates, who testified against his longtime business partner earlier this week, has been cooperating with the special counsel since he accepted a plea deal back in February, and it appears that Gates may still be providing information to Mueller's team about his time with the Trump campaign. Yesterday, the judge in the Manafort case agreed to seal the transcript of a private discussion he had with the attorneys after the prosecution argued it would, quote, reveal substantive evidence pertaining to an ongoing investigation. That ongoing investigation is presumably the one into Trump's campaign. For more, I'm joined by former Congresswoman Elizabeth Holtzman and Vinoo Varghese, a white-collar criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor. Vinoo, the prosecution's had a couple weeks here, 2 weeks to make their case. How strong does it look right now?
Well, I think the first thing is that they have problems. They've had problems. They've been beaten up by the judge. The judge at one point took the role of the defense lawyer and questioned Gates's comment. That's a problem. The second thing here is that this conversation that he sealed today is going to give the jury a bad feeling. Because you got to think that these jurors, even though they're told not to go look at the news, they're listening. So if they're hearing President Trump say this is a witch hunt, and from Alexandria, Virginia to D.C. is not that far to go witch hunting, but if that's what they're thinking, then this is more fodder for them. Because what the lawyers should have asked is, are you getting more benefit for providing information for the Russia collusion inquiry?
So you think that the case might be in some trouble here?
I think so.
Do you agree with that?
Well, I mean, I think there's no question that the judges meddled, to use a well-worn word, and was hostile to this case from the get-go. But I think that the government has substantial amount of evidence. Yes, I mean, Rick Gates, he's been tarnished. He's questionable about his own ethics and integrity. Can people really trust him? But the level of evidence, I think, is pretty substantial. So, yeah, you can have concern, but I'm not sure that he's not going to be convicted. The government has a very good conviction record in general. And
in their continued media blitz, President Trump, his personal attorneys Jay Sekulow and Rudy Giuliani, they were on the radio again this afternoon discussing ways Trump could get caught in a perjury trap if he sits down with Mueller.
When you say a perjury trap, in other words, here's what you've got one witness that says this is what happened, and then you got another witness that recalls, well, no, that's not how I recall it. It happened this way. And does then someone write up a report and say, well, we believe this one, we don't believe that one, thus it's perjury?
Flynn is the example. No crime. If it had been said, the president says go easy on him.
Which the president says,
he didn't say. He didn't say stop it, don't do it. So no crime. However, it didn't take place, according to the president. According to Comey, it did. Now,
of course, if it did, it wouldn't have mattered, but then but you're right.
According to the Daily Beast, Trump's lawyers are fighting the case in the court of public opinion. Quote, some have likened the back and forth to a chess match, but it's more like the parties are actually playing two different games. Mueller is playing the legal game while Giuliani is playing a political one. It is so fascinating to see. You could think of other investigations involving presidents in the past. To have the two lawyers just kind of on the radio going back and forth like that. We certainly haven't had that in the past. What do you make of it, though, what Giuliani's up to? Is it effective in the court of public opinion?
We'll see. I mean, that's what Nixon did in Watergate. It was all a PR offensive because they knew underneath it all the facts were against them. There's no question that the President of the United States is a bit of a wimp. A lot of a wimp. He doesn't want to go forward. He's telling the American people, I really want to talk, but in fact, he's scared to death to talk because it's not just a perjury trap. It's that the question is whether he's engaged in obstruction of justice. And we've seen evidence of that constantly, whether it's attacking the Manafort trial, the constant attacks on the prosecutor, trying to shut this investigation down. I mean, Mueller right now has had 2 major indictments against more than 30 Russians involved in what he claims is information war against the United States. Are we going to shut down the investigation if there are other spies out there? I mean, what is the president doing? What side is he on? Is he on the side of the people of the United States, or is he on his side? I think it's quite clear it's on his side. And that's going to become clearer and clearer to the American people.
In this term, the idea of a perjury trap, take us through that from a lawyer's standpoint. How real is that when prosecutors get to sit down with somebody they're interested in? Is it something, tell us, is it something lawyers on the other side should be worried about?
Well, absolutely. Look, President Trump is dying to say to Robert Mueller, you're fired, but this isn't The Apprentice, right? So he really wants to fire him, but they know that's fraught with peril. Giuliani is doing something that he's actually supposed to do. He has actually an ethical responsibility to defend his client in the court of public opinion. So he's doing that, and Giuliani said this. He's been very upfront about this. The issue for Giuliani as a lawyer is delay, 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 because he knows that you cannot put President Trump into an interview, a sworn statement, with Robert Mueller, or even if it's not sworn, you can still be charged if you lie to a federal agent. He knows that. The history shows that there's too many inconsistencies with President Trump.
And there's just that tendency on Trump's part, it seems, to just, he sort of keeps talking and kind of goes in circles, and you're not sure what's going to come out, I guess.
Right, but ultimately, Mueller has the power of a subpoena here. And if he keeps drawing out this matter, Giuliani, and delay, as you say, we're going to be up at the midterm midterm elections. What are the American people going to think if the President of the United States doesn't come forward and testify?
Do you think Mueller needs to complete this investigation? Does he need to sit down with Trump?
I'm not sure he needs, but I think to complete his investigation, to assure the American people that he's left no stone unturned, he wants the President to come down and explain his point of view. But this is a little bit like Nixon and the tapes. Why was Nixon fighting the release of tapes that would prove him innocent? Why is Trump refusing to testify if he's innocent?
Bottom line, do you think if Giuliani says no, do you think there's a subpoena?
There could very well be a subpoena, and if we come close to the midterm elections, what are the American people going to think? This is a president who doesn't want to tell the truth, who's afraid of the prosecutors, and has got something to hide.
Very quickly, Vinoo, do you think there'd be a subpoena?
No. There's a long-standing DOJ policy against subpoenaing a sitting president. So I don't think Mueller's going to, that's fraught with political peril for him. So he's trying to get Donald Trump in. While I agree with you that, what do you think about a president, what people may think, his base, as you were saying in your previous segment, won't really care.
Well, we walked up to the line with that issue of the subpoena with Bill Clinton back in 1998. Then he ended up testifying. We'll see how this goes. Elizabeth Holtzman, Vinoo Varghese, thank you both for being with us.